All right. Should be shareable for all your sharing enjoyment. They just took a look at Loretta Lynn's will, and apparently she said, "You are woman enough to take my man." So I'm not really. I don't even know. Everything. The world's upside down.
You know what?
Yeah,
that's enough.
That's too far.
That's just enough. just got to stop that. Just got to stop. We already have a comment.
I know. Tully's always in there. First one.
What's that mean? Is that Clarence Thomas?
I think that's what he's referring to.
What did he do now? Wah,
wah. Oh, Thomas! Wow.
It's another episode of Who's the Boss? Okay. We ready?
Ready.
It is the Brad and Britt cast. It's our Hump Day edition. Be ready to hump. We're live in the 1:30 to 2:30 Eastern hour on all your favorite platforms. Soon to be on the X platform, which we'll talk about later. And let's start with "Here Come the Judge." Here come the judge.
All right.
And I'm glad he broke the record. I think I said on the previous podcast, it would be okay if he ended up just tied, but it's good that he broke it. And, you don't think about this until it comes up, but all those steroid records way above 61 were made over in the National League, right? Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds, they were all in the National League. What was with that? What was going on there, Britt? You're Mr. Baseball. Why did that happen over there, but not in the American League?
My studied analysis is they had better home run hitters in the National League. I don't know. I really don't know.
Wait, is that the company line from baseball?
I don't know. It's a more pure. We didn't have things like the designated hitters. So we had more pure hitters. I don't know. I don't know.
But they were loaded up on drugs. Why was the drug taking? I'm not asking it right. Why was the drug taking more prevalent and successful in a way, but not really, in the National League? They're all discredited. None of them are in the Hall of Fame.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know why they were all sticking needles up their ass over there, but the American League just finally caught on to it. Oops, did I say that? Oh, I did.
All right, let's have some fun here with the call of the 60-second home run by Aaron Judge yesterday. And let's begin with the guy down in Texas for they were playing the Rangers, right? The Texas Rangers?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. All right, so this sets a new standard for it's all about us. Or I used to joke about this all the time when there would be a natural disaster somewhere, like a hurricane or a huge snowstorm. Lee Kynard on Channel 2 here would go, could it happen here? Right? And making a story 1,000 miles away. But, well, I guess, anything could happen here.
Princess Diana's death. Could it happen here?
All right, so here you go. Here's the call. I hope. It's too good to be true.
No.
We're not live, are we?
No. We can always edit this out.
We're not live. We'll get it here. Here we go. If this takes a half hour, Britt, we're doing it.
I love your dedication.
I'm committed to the bit.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm committed to the white circle of death.
Apple products for the win.
Oh, because you never have the white circle of death on.
Never.
We're staying with it. I don't care. This is going to hurt our ratings, Britt, but I'm staying with it. Nope. That's dead.
Oh, damn it.
That's dead. Let's try this one.
Try that one.
No, it's fucked. All right. Sorry about that. My fault.
Bastards.
Nothing you can do about it.
Aaron Judge is about to be paid $50 million a year. I mean, that's the big deal. Is he bet on himself before the season. He turns down massive salaries over a huge period of time for the New York Yankees. And now that he's broken the record, you talk about getting paid. Holy shit.
But that's stupid because it's paid for what he did, not what. How do you know he's going to hit 60 again?
You don't.
That's not fair.
You don't. But it looks like, I mean honestly, $500 million over 10 years does not look like a ridiculous proposal at this point.
And we wish him well.
And it's all
we
guaranteed.
Hope he invests it well. We hope he invests it well.
For those of you who don't know, it's all guaranteed in Major League Baseball. In football, not so much. In basketball, not so much. In baseball, you get every penny.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Brad's in a good mood now.
Yeah, everything's happening now.
All right. Here you go. Here's your choices. Here come the gas prices.
Oh, geez.
Again, maybe.
Yeah.
X marks the next spot for Tesla and Twitter boss man. Serial liar Trump believes serial liar Herschel Walker's denial.
Yeah.
And I can't do this one because the white circle of death might attack again. So I'll skip that.
Yes.
America finally waking up to North Carolina Senate race.
Let's do that one first because we've been kind of flummoxed and we've been kind of at a loss as to why people are discovering why Ted Budd, the GOP Donald Trump picked nominee, hasn't been exposed as a complete idiot nationally, Brad. He's really flying under the radar when it comes to your J.D. Vances and your Dr. Oz's and your Herschel Walkers. And here's Ted Budd, who's as dumb as any of those.
And the big four includes those three, and then the guy out in Arizona,
Blake Masters.
Dutch Masters. I'll bet
Blake
that was his name back in high school.
Blake the Snake Masters out in Arizona, who pairs up nicely with their idiot governor candidate, Kerry Lake.
All right. So, those other seats you were talking about, except for Georgia, which you have an incumbent running, Raphael Warnock, the others they're open seats, right?
Yeah.
You have retirements and things of that sort. Although, again, in Arizona, Mark Kelly is the incumbent, and he should win that. But anyway, they've not been paying attention at all to North Carolina. And Sherry Beasley, now suddenly, guess what? Politico went and talked to, and if you live around here, you see this name all the time if you're into politics, one of the go-to people to get quotes on state politics around here, Michael Bitzer of Catawba College. He's the chairman of the politics department at beautiful Catawba College. What's their sports nickname, Mr. College?
It's one of the Indian tribes, and I can't remember which one because I've actually been on that campus and seen athletics, so I can't remember. It's one of the Indian tribes, though.
Is it the Hakawis?
I don't think it's the Hakawis. I don't believe that's it. Yeah.
Should we explain? No, we're not going to explain it. It's just pointless. Just look up F Troop, kids. So Michael Bitzer says that the National Democrats are not paying attention enough. The clock has been ticking. But he thinks so far, even though it's been relegated to a second-tier status, despite being really, really close, they need to change, and just maybe sort of the National Democrats are. What frustrates me, Britt, and I know you see this, we all see it. Every race is always wrapped in this seat could decide the Senate. This one race is the one.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. Only one race in this country, Britt, will decide. And maybe it's just me, and I'm not a math major from college. I don't. But there are 100 Senate seats. They are mathematically all equal when you're trying to get as high a number out of the 100 as possible. So to say that the Pennsylvania seat is more important than the North Carolina seat, that the Ohio seat, J.D. Vance, Tim Ryan, is more important than, is just plain stupid. Don't you think this goes under the, well, they've always said it this way, so they keep saying it. They just can't get away from it. It's right in there with the, this is the most important election of your life, which gets said all the time.
But we're really getting down to nut cutting time. We're a month till the election. Early voting in North Carolina begins in 2 weeks, and everybody's kind of like, well, kind of drumming their fingers. I mean, it is. We're getting. It's late in the game here.
Yeah. Do you know there are already 10,000 absentee ballots that have been mailed in already?
Are they mostly from illegal aliens? No, yes.
No, they're mostly from Mars, Britt. And by the way, if you're on Mars, as you know, the Democrats went up there first and started registering people door to door, and then started harvesting ballots from inside one of those craters. And I think that needs to be investigated. Professor Bitzer described Sherry Beasley, the former Supreme Court Chief Justice, as a, quote, nearly ideal candidate for North Carolina, and says she can win.
Yes, she can.
In spite of the fact that Ted Budd starts in this dumbass state with that natural advantage that Republicans have, because there are more stupid people here than we like to admit.
So true. Well, no, but if you're nationally and you're someone, particularly if you're a minority and you work for the party and you've been told, hold on, we're going to promote a lot, and you see a black woman running for Senate, and then you see the Democratic Party, the national party, going, I don't know, I'm not sure if we're going to commit to the race or not. You kind of start scratching your head a little bit, don't you? I mean, you would have to, wouldn't you?
I don't want to think that way at all.
Yeah, but the evidence.
I don't want to. And let me translate beyond what you're just saying. What you're saying is that the National Democratic Party, the Democrats, which have been for the last 60 years, more attuned, but not enough attuned, as you know, to minority issues. James Clyburn of South Carolina, in effect, is responsible 100% for Joe Biden being president of the United States. All those things, but that there is a racism factor in the Democratic Party that is saying, well, we would vote for her, but we know that in North Carolina, there are just enough people who just can't see, black and woman. I don't care what we're going to put our money in Ohio and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
That's what that's where you're going. Is that right?
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but again, the optics matter. I would think. Would you blame someone for thinking like what you just explained? I wouldn't blame someone for thinking that way.
Well, you do have to wonder. All right, here's back to Bitzer. He says, if you had to paint a picture of an almost ideal Democratic candidate, it would be her. She's run statewide. She's run statewide. That's a stretch. She ran for Supreme Court Chief Justice, and nobody gets pumped up, excited, or remembers who they voted for in Supreme Court races statewide. But okay, she's run statewide. She's got name recognition. Only relative to Ted Budd That's fair because nobody outside of our district would know who he is.
Like when Donald Trump elevated him and said, "This is going to be my guy," that helped his name recognition, 20-fold, hugely.
Yeah, but 20-fold times 0.2 gets you to 10.
Yeah,
okay.
I would. Yeah, the guys. Again, you couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Wait, 20-fold times 0.2 gets you to 4. Sorry.
Yeah, 4.
I'm a math genius. I forgot.
A whiz.
All right. The only kind of strike against her is she's not very charismatic, energizing, or anything like that. She was a judge. Judges don't tend to be unless you happen to be wildly charismatic, like, Roy Moore in Alabama was.
Yeah, again, I don't know. Raphael Warnock, he's a speaker and all that stuff, but I don't know how charismatic. He's not Hulk Hogan from 1986.
No, Raphael Warnock is a dynamic speaker. He's out there. I think you made the wrong call there.
I'll go with Fetterman then. Fetterman's like he's not, he's basically okay. He's not like a huge rock star kind of guy.
Well, but I don't think
Mark Kelly.
Compare her to outside. It's her to what was. And by the way, Richard Burr. There's your comparison.
Oh, yeah,
there's a charismatic. There's a dynamo.
Dear God in heaven.
He was enough. He was enough. Right. The fundamentals of a midterm election favor Bud, says Professor Blitzer, who he called now a classic, now Trump Republican candidate. And that, in a fair, real, normal world, should be enough for him to get crushed. But we know that's not the way the world is. But think about this. He won the Republican primary, 58%. He beat Pat McCrory by 34 points. Pat McCrory was down in the low 20s. So this is a Trump candidate. And I think a referendum on Trump right now should not come out exactly as it did in 2020 in North Carolina, where Trump won the state by a couple of points. It's a different electorate, and you have January 6th that happened after the last time Trump was on the ballot. And again, I'm living in a dream world where I think that people would think rationally and think what's best for the country and think about what you are doing if you enable Trumpism by voting for Ted Budd in North Carolina, because that's what you're doing. And I usually don't do this, Britt, but I just had a back and forth for the last 12 hours with a guy who appeared on my Facebook page. Here he comes. We don't get them very often. A committed right-winger, a committed anti-abortion whack job.
Wow.
A committed Trumper. All the way. And it's interesting because if you go back and forth with these people enough, they all play I'm not a big fan of Trump.
Of course.
Then his policies that I like. And it's everything that how come you're not talking me, Brett? What about the Hunter Biden thing? That was covered up. What about the fake Russia hoax? All the things that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And as a great demagogue in the pantheon of great demagogues in world history, I put Trump right up with those people, with Joe McCarthy, with Adolf Hitler, with people like that. The shit sticks because they repeat it over and over and over again. And you can see it in that exchange that I had with this guy, just back and forth. And of course, they never back down. They never admit anything. They never, on and on it goes. So as a result, you have a very, very tight race here in North Carolina. And as we get back to the original premise here, which is why the fuck isn't this race mentioned along with the others? And I would submit to you, it's because, and clearly this is intentional, Ted Budd says nothing. He says nothing in public. When was the last time you saw a clip of him saying anything?
No, it's just
you can't remember. I can't remember. Can you?
No, not like at a public gathering or a rally or something.
Anything.
Like the thing in Wilmington when Donald Trump was there a couple of weeks ago. I don't even know if Bud was there. I certainly didn't see any clips of it.
Well,
I
that's the
assume he
point.
was there, but I don't know nothing.
Usually, if you go back and you run the numbers at those rallies, Trump speaks 99.9% of the time, and whoever he's there to endorse gets at maximum 75 seconds, a minute 15. Get off the stage. It's all about me.
Is it 90% of it?
So you can't hear anything. There's nothing to be said.
90% of it is bitching about the election being stolen from him and how they're trying to throw him in jail and how sleepy. And then like 5 seconds at the end is vote for Ted Budd or something like that.
No. Usually about 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
He starts to look around and he'll point and do demeaning little stupid things like that. And the person will come up, stand behind Trump for about 20 seconds. He'll bring them up. Trump steps back, lets them speak for, I'm not joking, never more than a minute and a half or so. And they say nothing. And then they leave. So the purported rally for whoever it is in whatever state he goes to, and he only goes to North Carolina, Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio, Arizona, the places that are in play, the swing states. And then he just goes back to his bitching. So that's why you would never, ever see a clip of whichever local politician is supposedly the beneficiary of the rally, because it's a Trump rally. It's not a Ted Budd rally. It never is. But the point is, again, remember, the Democrats would be 51-49. And I'm not saying that the North Carolina race in 2020 decided the Senate. I'm not playing that game, but the numbers are very simple. We lost North Carolina to the Republicans and the very, very weak, useless incumbent, Tom Tillis, because there was a sex scandal, and it really wasn't much of a sex scandal. It was like no abortions were paid for or anything.
No, it was, which we'll get to in a moment.
By a guy who again looked like he was out of central casting.
He was.
For a Senate seat in North Carolina, a guy named Cal Cunningham.
He gets his first taste of fame.
Caught, what was he texting?
Yeah, he got his first taste of fame. Somebody slid into his DMs, and all of a sudden he unzipped, and that was all she wrote.
Right, but think about this, and all right, think about that. So of course his candidacy dead.
Yeah,
he got whooped because of that. Right.
Right.
Herschel Walker still in there. We support him more than ever. He got a standing ovation yesterday at a church that he showed up to, which, I'm sure it was, white evangelical folks who are big pro-choice no, they're not.
Not really.
And so Herschel Walker, in their judgment, it does not matter that he paid for an abortion in 2009. He's a changed man, Britt. He's a different guy now. And
is it?
I swear to God, I've heard. Ready for this one? Ready?
Yeah.
Youthful indiscretion. How old was Herschel Walker?
Like 30, 35.
In 2009. He played college football
82.
When he was 20 in 1980. So let's do the math on that. So he was about 59 or 60.
Yeah.
whatever the fuck he was. Okay?
Is he actually saying that, or are the people who are making excuses for him saying it was a youthful indiscretion?
I've listened to,
because like 48 hours, because 48 hours ago was a fucking lie that the media was just making up. Now it's, oh yeah, I did it, but people need to get past it, right?
Well, you have to come with a full deck of cards, Britt.
Yeah.
Remember, it's first of all, there's no actual proof.
Oh.
We don't know whether this woman's telling the truth, and how come she hasn't spoken out in public yet?
Now,
and the answer is because she hasn't yet, and she will, because she's sitting there watching this and seething even more than she did when she first talked to the Daily Beast and broke the story. And my bet is that you will see her within the next 48 hours, somehow, somewhere, with somebody ready to talk in public. And by the way, we always said this about Trump. We always were sure that he's paid for multiple abortions. What do you think the chances are that that's the only check that Herschel Walker ever wrote for something like this? And by the way, remember, not against the law. He didn't break any laws.
No, but he's a massive hypocrite. Don't no, but
right.
it's a massive hypocrite. Wouldn't it be cute if they would post the check and it had the little Georgia G on it on his checks, or a Mickey Mouse or something on there? I'm not sure which would be better.
Yeah. Well, remember, we saw the Trump checks that were written in the Stormy Daniels case, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll actually see the evidence here.
Here's the story. You've seen like his son Christian, right? You've seen the rant on social media. His son Christian, who in his own right is a big right-wing fuck. If you look at his feed on his social media, he loves Ron DeSantis a lot. And this kid, who's not a kid, he's an adult, is ranting against his father. 4 different kids, 4 different women. He was not present in any of their lives. And now he's basically telling you conservatives, go eat a big one if you're still supporting this guy, because he's a piece of shit as a father goes. He's horrible. He does not represent any family values whatsoever. That would be Christian Walker, who affirms that he and his mother.
Maybe we should say there is no such thing as a politician who represents family values. Because
wait a minute, that's not true.
No, I'm starting to think. Name one.
James Earl Carter Jr. Okay, how about that? Suck on it.
No, he was just a good guy with his family. That doesn't mean he represents. I don't know what the fuck family values are. What does that mean? I don't even know.
It means you're a good dad. You don't fuck around on your wife, and you raise your kids even during the tough. And you stay with. Yes, that's the standard. And James Earl Carter Jr. did that. And by the way, Roy Moore, he represents family values. He doesn't go out there and he has kids. He loves being a dad. He loves being a goofy dad, and he's got his same wife the whole time. Yes, that represents family values. It ain't
that whole teenage girl thing. That doesn't fit into it.
Sure, the thing that you just made up. Yeah, that doesn't factor into it. That's correct. Good God. Everybody's got a skeleton or two in their closet. Sure, I'll give you that nobody's perfect. Everybody's done some shit, but the guys that stay. Roy Moore is extremely boring. James Earl Carter Jr. extremely boring. Sorry, same wife the whole time. Raised the kids.
You're actually equating those two on some kind of family values.
Roy Moore and Jimmy Carter.
Yeah,
I think they're very similar. They have standard Southern male haircut number 2 for one thing. And I know that Jimmy Carter's kids smoked pot in the White House. Shock, horror. But he still figured out a way to love them.
It was known apparently for months that this was coming. His campaign team knew all about it. I guess in Georgia, it was almost a fact that quote unquote everybody knew. They thought this would just go away, that it would never come up in the camp. How intelligent is that? When you know something this explosive is there, and you just think that you'll be able to walk through to any kind of November without the October surprise factor. But wait a minute, hang on. Okay. He's got one important backer who believes his story, Donald Trump. And Donald Trump's statement is this: Herschel has properly denied the charges against him. Can I translate that? What that means is he's lied up to Donald Trump standards of lying. All right. Herschel has properly denied the charges against him, and I have no doubt that he is correct. You can't possibly make that up. That the one person that would step forward, the biggest liar in American political history, getting his endorsement, 2 years ago at the convention. Remember that? He was already talking about him then. He was already talking about Herschel Walker then. And now, all this time later, a month before the election, a similar story comes out. It could have been Trump, and we're positive there are Trump girls out there who had abortion. we're sticking
Again,
with that.
Well, the joke that I always had was how they always ask like presidents what a gallon of milk costs or what a loaf of bread costs. And he didn't know that, but he knew what an abortion costs down to the penny in New Jersey. If you went across the river to Newark, he could tell you exactly what an abortion would cost.
See, I disagree with that because Trump pays for nothing. Okay.
No, he does because he had the checks in him. It's been brought to my attention. I said Roy Moore when, of course, I meant Roy Cooper. We've both had stellar shows today. This has been our best of all
Wait
time.
a minute. Well, hold it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Now I got it.
Oh my God.
Let me just erase. I'm going to edit everything out. Roy Cooper and Jimmy Carter are very similar. Roy Moore starts banging chicks and riding on horses.
I am supposed to be closer to dementia.
No fair. You don't stake out that. You don't have that ground. I'm also full of stupid neurons that are misfiring.
Wait. Because remember, I specifically repeated the name to you a couple times, and you never.
I was in the middle of my rant, so of course I didn't register what you were saying. Roy Cooper. Now, see, it all makes much more sense when I say Cooper instead of Moore, right?
What you really meant was Roy Rogers, the roast beef guy
right.
who
That's
had the cowboy TV movie career.
That's the what I was meant. That's what I meant. I apologize for the. We went past Ted Budd so quickly. For those of you that don't live in North Carolina, I'm going to show a little screen grab of the commercial we're showing here. What happens is what happens here is Ted Budd is in a grocery store showing how Joe Biden has destroyed the American family by not letting them afford groceries. And there is the little girl. I don't know. How old would you say that kid is? 11, 12? I don't know.
Yeah.
She brings some cupcakes or muffins up to the counter for mommy to buy. And mommy says, no, we just can't afford that. And there you see, it is though mommy has stabbed her in the kidney. The child looks incredibly disappointed.
I'm revising my answer. The little girl is not quite old enough for Roy Moore.
Roy Moore. Not Roy Cooper. There you see that's what we're getting. Joe Biden.
Right. It's a terrible commercial because it's kind of clumsy. It doesn't really make the point unless you want to go along with the idea. And I guess this exchange I had with this guy, maybe it did make sense because conservatives, Republicans have to believe, and they do believe, and you hear them parrot, although I'm not sure if they really, really believe it, that Democrats and Joe Biden have intentionally done things over the last year and a half to cause inflation, cause food prices to go up, cause gasoline prices to, and of course, Biden wants gas to go up so everyone will buy an electric car next year. Because as you know, there are millions of electric cars sitting on lots just waiting to be bought. But because gasoline's been too low, we haven't been incentivized to do it. They believe this because this is what they're told. And that commercial is so bad, it gives me hope. Even though it allows us to glide right in to the next wild card. And this is the horrible part of American elections, which is we often vote, and because many votes are going to be early votes, people vote at the moment and look at what's going on today, and very often shift or make decisions based on current events. And when I mean current event, I mean right now events. In other words, if the price of gasoline where we are jumps back up by $1 again, and we're pushing $4 again, and that's close to election day, that's a killer. That will be 100% attributed to Democratic candidates all over the country, not just here. And apparently, the Republican Party, which has great diplomatic relations with both Russia, because many of them are sympathetic to Russia invading Ukraine, and probably are ready to recognize the 4 parts of Ukraine that Putin just annexed and declared Russian territory. With the Russians getting closer and closer to the Saudis now, and with OPEC not being defanged quite as much as it used to be, it's actually called OPEC Plus now.
OPEC Plus. Okay. Is that like Disney Plus?
Yeah, it's like
Disney Plus. Do I subscribe to that?
Right. It's like HBO Max. Right. It's now OPEC Plus. And they've all decided that they're going to start cutting the amount of oil that they pump. That's going to drive the price back up. And will that immediately translate to higher prices? Yes, instantly. That's how it works. We know that. Although, to be fair, they did fall in a consistent manner for 3 months here. But that won't matter.
Doesn't count. It doesn't count.
If it's the trajectory, it's the direction on election day and leading right up to it.
There we go.
That could really, really hurt Democrats. I mean, I would put gasoline prices right in line, right beside abortion, as a deciding factor in driving people to the polls. I think they're kind of equal.
Yeah, but Joe Biden and Sherry Beasley want your child not to be able to stuff muffins into their face. I mean, how do you counter that?
Well, I would say something stupid like, if we could just educate people on why prices go up and down, why inflation in the United States is not a full-on production exclusively of a political party. The political parties don't control prices, and the rest of the world is experiencing even worse inflation than we have. So you can't say that, because if you dare say, if you think it's bad here, you should go to blank. Nobody wants to hear that. You can't do that.
No, not exactly.
Or
although it is fair to say that there are a lot of people on the conservative side who are looking at Hungary. That's where they need to go, right? It's heaven over there for some reason or other.
I'm sure the price of gasoline in Hungary is 50 cents a gallon.
What is the price of freedom? It's 50 cents a gallon. Yeah. There she is. Yeah, she looks like, here's take two. Honey, you didn't look disappointed enough about those muffins. Act like your dog just got killed. And action! I love the spot. He's got another one where he's like in a cafeteria or something. You have to say, the Ted Bundy campaign and the geniuses that are running it have built the entire campaign on, let's just not remind anybody he's running. That's what we need to do, is to make sure that we don't have Ted anywhere doing anything, and then we'll run a couple of commercials during some football games.
I mean, this is a philosophical question for both of us here, and we're not Democratic political consultants. We don't run Sherry Beasley's campaign. No. We don't produce her commercials or decide where the money goes, and I don't see that much on social media. Political, I just don't end up seeing it for whatever reason. But Ted Budd is one of the 137 Republicans who signed on the petition right after January 6th, saying that the election was stolen from Donald Trump. 137 of them. So Ted Budd is an official election denier. Democracy is on the line. There was a riot, there was an attack, there was an assault on the United States Capitol with an attempt to decapitate the government. That's a coup, violently. I know, Britt, I forgot to mention, did you know there were no guns there? None. Not
zero.
A one.
Zero guns.
Have you heard this one? They're really going hard with this one now, which, by the way, it's not true. There were guns there, and there were lots of guns being ready to just funneled in at the drop of a hat. And if you don't count machetes and flagpoles and tear gas, what was it, bear spray they were using? Right. And all that. Those aren't weapons, Britt. Those aren't guns.
But you can't even chase that one because there were guns, because the premise itself is flawed.
I know. Right. So first you have to argue against the lie, and then you have to go from there. But my question, as it relates to us here, is, have the Democrats, at least here, decided that there's no value, that no one cares anymore, that democracy almost came to a full end on January 6th, 2021, and that the Republican Party and Ted Budd, in particular here, fill in the name of your candidate wherever you live, have stood by and not only not denounced it, not tried to distance themselves from it, but have embraced the general concept of sedition, of treason, of overthrowing things, while at the same time talking about making America great again and returning to some time in the past that never was. They're trying to play it both ways, and by not pointing it out enough, I think they're going to get away with it. And that's the problem. That's why these candidates are way more competitive than they should be. These loser, horrible candidates all across the board. They're not getting their ass kicked the way we think they should. I hope we're wrong. And I hope on election night or the next day when the results are really in, that we are pleasantly surprised that the American people were not asleep at the switch, that they did respond, and that the January 6th hearings that we've seen, and is the next one now scheduled for next week? Is that when the next one is?
I think that's right.
So
yeah,
they canceled it from this week because of because of the hurricane, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it did poke through enough, and it did make a difference. And these people can't get away with the lies. They can't run to be part of a government about which they do not believe in. We're not going to do that. We're not going to be that country. We're not going to be the banana republic. We're not going to be that. I hope that's true, and I hope that it's impossible to poll that right now. It's just you can't poll it.
Let's do. You wanted to do something on Elon Musk, and then we'll call it a day. And I'll go see if I can scrub my brain and find a gross of Prevagen.
That's all right. That's all right. You know what? Just consider yourself just like the spinning circle of death.
Yeah, that's me.
You know,
Except it's my brain.
You know what? It made sense. Wait, no, it made sense today that when one thing falls off the shelf, everything does,
yeah,
right?
Everything. Yeah, everything happened.
All right.
Elon,
So
yeah,
yesterday, when we got done yesterday, after we got done, the news broke that Elon Musk had thrown in the towel and said, "All right, God damn it, I signed the contract. I'm buying the company. I'm going to way overpay for something." It's like somebody who would sign up to buy a Tesla for $500,000 and then wake up the next day. What? The car's worth maybe 80. No, sorry, you said 500. You're buying it for $500,000, and that's what happened with Twitter, because a lot of folks value Twitter at way not only less than the $54 or so a share that he put out for, about $40 billion, but they value it way less than that. To give you an idea of just how small Twitter is in terms of the money that they generate, their revenues right now are approximately what Facebook revenues were the very first year Facebook became a public company, what was it, like 10, 12 years ago. And Twitter's been around as long as Facebook as a stock and so in other words, Twitter has made zero progress. They're nowhere in terms of, but they punch above their weight in terms of
influence.
Their influence.
Yeah.
And we all await the possibility that Trump gets back on there to share his wisdom with us. All right. So after he made the deal, he referred to something called X. I'm committed to creating X. Buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, which he calls the Everything app. And he thinks this will speed up X being created here. Here's what X is. I know you're asking. And by the way, he grabbed X.com in 1999. And that was his online bank, and it kind of morphed into PayPal, and they pushed him out of PayPal, Peter Thiel and that group. So he's got the X, okay? Apparently he must have grown up and listened to a radio station, 96X in Miami or something like that. He thought,
God.
Right? Yeah. So X apparently is similar to WeChat in China. They have a WeChat, WeChat. And they have hundreds of millions, maybe 1 billion people on WeChat, and it does everything. It has messaging. It's got browsing social media. You make dinner reservations. You can book rides. You can send payments. It's supposed to be the all-in-one app, which, as you can just guess, is designed to drive everyone else out of business, as you know. So you combine Facebook and Uber and Instagram and Substack and you name it, and that would be X. And he's looking at what they've done over in China as the model here. So while we're thinking about Twitter and Tesla and the rest, he is one step ahead of us. So that is the story. That would be the story here. And no, I've never owned Twitter stock, so I'm speaking not as somebody who has some kind of bias on this. So X is the name of it.
As someone once said, X going to give it to you. Of course, that guy's dead too. So,
Britt, remember when I got hired in New York along with my old buddy Mike Warren and we did mornings on WPIX. You remember what their slogan was?
Your ex wants you back.
Your ex wants you back. Of course, it was EX,
right?
Because it was all about appealing to women, which, by the way, is a great slogan. But now it's just your ex. Your ex wants you back. So great fun there. All right, listen. Here's the deal. I want you to go home after this Brad and Britt cast. I want you to get a lot of sleep. I want you to get some good nutrition. I'm going to do the same thing.
All the sleep.
And we're going to come back for the next Brad and Britt, and we're going to be razor sharp. We're going to be on our game. There will be no circle of death.
No. There'll be no mistaking one piece of shit for a guy who's actually a really good guy.
That's right.
There'll be none of that.
Exactly right.
We're gonna refund everybody's money for today's show. Don't worry. It'll be in your account by the time I finish the sentence.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you said that. You know what I'm going to do when I get done?
Yeah.
I'm going to call. I'll let you know how this works out. I've had a problem for years with my Spectrum connection. I have it in like 4 places. I have it where we are. It's fine. I have a TV here. It's fine. I have a TV upstairs in our room. It's fine. But the one downstairs where we watch TV when you come over to watch the Super Bowl, I have intermittent problems. I have the picture freezes, the whole thing, blah, 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 blah. And the answer is, believe me, I've done everything. There's nothing I can do. In fact, Brad, it must be the fact you have an old DVR.
Yeah.
No, Brad has a brand new DVR, and it does the same thing. So clearly, there's something in the air, in the line, and all that. And I'm going to call our good friends at Spectrum, and I'll just bet you, Jiffy, they will be, after they do their usual thing, which is, can we send a signal down the line to what's the number on your DVR? Which one? And that won't make a difference. That will not make a difference. Clearly, this is something really, really chronic in the wiring or something, because if it was that, it would be revealed on all the other TV, right?
It seems like it again, but these people are magical people.
You never know. You never know. So I'll talk to you tomorrow about Spectrum, Dick. Okay?
See ya.